false, fraud, and abuse from any of my colleagues and even from you. Because if we wanted to eliminate abuse and fraud, we'd eliminate the President of the United States from the office right now and the rest of the sycophants in his administration that are allowing him to do so many illegal things. This is an unfortunately monetizing, lying, corrupt administration.
The gentlelady's time has expired.
I yield my time. Would you say to her, I am sorry, that was a mistake?
I always have empathy for individuals, including those that get improper and false information from the media that pumps this false and ignorant information out to the American people.
You know, I am so sorry to hearing.
Before we begin, hit that like button and subscribe to Capital Truthline, because moments like this expose exactly why so many Americans have completely lost trust in Washington. Democrats tried to blame Republicans for America's healthcare crisis. Then Addison McDowell stepped in and absolutely tore the narrative apart, piece by piece. And by the end of this hearing, the entire room got very quiet.
To the mothers of the kids who died because of your dismantling of U.S. aid, Harvard study says there are more than 100,000 of them. Can you give me a quick response to what you would say to those mothers? Just don't talk to me about the study. Would you have anything of empathy, compassion, and humanity to say to her? Would you say to her, I am sorry, that was a mistake?
I always have empathy for individuals, including those that get improper and false information from the media that pumps this false and ignorant information out to the American people.
You know, I am so sorry to hearing false, fraud, and abuse from any of my colleagues and even from you. Because if we wanted to eliminate abuse and fraud, we'd eliminate the President of the United States from the office right now and the rest of the sycophants in his administration that are allowing him to do so many illegal things. This is an unfortunately monetizing, lying, corrupt administration.
The gentlelady's time has expired.
I yield my time.
We're now going to yield 5 minutes to Mr. McDow from North Carolina.
Well, thank you, Chairman and Director. Thank you for being here today as part of the regular budget process. I think it's fitting that this hearing falls on tax day, and it also happens to be my oldest daughter's 3rd birthday, and so happy birthday, Mary Margaret. And when I explained to her why I have to go to Washington, D.C. to work, I have to do it in a way that makes sense to a 3-year-old. And because of my colleagues' either inability to understand what the One Big Beautiful Bill Act actually did, or their just refusal to acknowledge what it did, I want to explain it like I explained it to her, because her birthday is on tax day, which is a real blessing as a fiscal conservative to be able to talk to her about that. What I told her this week, Daddy, why do you have to go to Washington? Well, I have to go to Washington to make sure that when you get your birthday money and the government comes and takes 25% of it, if it weren't for Daddy and his Republican friends, the government would have taken 30%. And so they want to say that this is a bill for billionaires. They're just wrong. And I don't know if it's that they don't understand the bill or that they just refuse to acknowledge what it actually does. But Director, let me ask you a couple questions about the overall economy. The inflation rate in June of 2022 was 9.2%, and that marked a 40-year high. Who was the president at that point?
Joe Biden.
And mortgage rates, they hit nearly 8% in 2023. That's the highest level since the year 2000. Was President Trump the president then?
No.
Economists across the ideological spectrum agree that the so-called American Rescue Plan heavily contributed to inflation. Who was the president that signed that into law?
Joe Biden.
And who controlled Congress?
The Democrats.
I'm not saying that their motives are impure, but I am saying they just don't understand the policy. Director, do you consider the Obamacare marketplace to be affordable for working people in my district?
It's not affordable enough. We want to make sure that we are driving down those costs for sure.
And it is named after President Obama, but is he a Republican or a Democrat?
He's a Democrat.
They continue to tell us that this is all our fault. The reason that healthcare is expensive is all our fault. They're wrong. Again, I don't know if it's their refusal to acknowledge the truth or that they're just simply not tethered to reality. But I just, for the life of me, can't understand why they continue to say that this is somehow Republicans' fault. My colleagues, they've continued to cry outrage about USAID money. I tend to think that my constituents would disagree with where that money was going. And so, I think that it's good that the president's budget doesn't include a lot of those things. But can you just, yes or no, does the president's budget include $11 million for producing the Middle Eastern version of Sesame Street?
No.
That's good. Does it include $10.3 million for supporting male circumcision programs in Mozambique?
No.
That's also very good. Does it include $2.5 million for supporting green energy businesses in Vietnam?
No.
Does it include $2 million for supporting gender-affirming healthcare and LGBTQ advocacy in Guatemala?
No.
Does it include $99,000 for supporting increased production of yogurt in Uganda?
No.
That's probably smart considering our national debt. Does it include $84,000 for supporting spa and wellness entrepreneurs in Nigeria?
No.
That's good. Mr. Chairman, I would just like to highlight that the president's budget, compared to what former administrations have spent on, we're out of control here.
This hearing perfectly captured the biggest problem in American politics right now. Nobody wants to take responsibility anymore. Democrats spent years controlling Congress, the White House, and major healthcare policy decisions. But now that Americans are drowning under inflation, rising insurance costs, expensive prescriptions, and unaffordable medical bills, suddenly they want voters to believe Republicans caused all of it. That was the narrative heading into this exchange, and Addison McDowell completely flipped it upside down. Instead of delivering a typical, polished political speech, he simplified the issue in a way ordinary Americans could actually understand. He even explained it using his 3-year-old daughter's birthday and tax day. And honestly, that's probably why the message landed so effectively. Because most Americans are exhausted by political spin. They want somebody to explain where their money is going and why life keeps getting more expensive. McDowell walked directly through the economic timeline. Inflation exploding under Biden. Mortgage rates climbing to historic highs. The so-called American Rescue Plan fueling massive spending. And then he asked the question Democrats never want answered honestly. Who controlled the government when all of this happened? The answer, of course, was Democrats. That's what made this exchange so damaging politically, because it challenged the central argument Democrats continue pushing, that Republicans somehow caused the affordability crisis Americans are living through right now. Then McDowell pivoted directly into healthcare, and this is where things got really uncomfortable. For years, Obamacare was sold as the grand solution that would make healthcare affordable and accessible for ordinary Americans. But millions of Americans today still feel crushed by premiums, deductibles, insurance denials, and medical debt. And McDowell pointed out something many voters quietly already believe. If Obamacare truly fixed healthcare, why are costs